saved in our UUCQC YouTube channel. If you don't want to appear in these recordings, you can sit under the owl's nest by the bookshelves. We invite everyone to join us downstairs after service for coffee, snacks, and conversation. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. My name is Marcy Doyle, and I'm up here today as coordinator of the social justice, team, and our opening words, call to worship. Wholeness. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of wholeness. You are welcome here. All of you, every part of you, beautiful just the way you are. Here you do not need to be something or something less. No holding back, no hiding, no exerting yourself, no trying to do more or be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here. Nothing to prove to me or the person sitting next to you or the children or to anyone. You don't have to try to be witty or more quiet, or more outgoing. You are beautiful. Every part of you beautiful just the way you are. You do not need to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. Your skin, your hair, your belly, your limbs, your face, all beautiful just the way they are. You are extraordinary. Each and every one of you different from each and beautiful in your own beautiful way. Breathtaking. Let us worship together. And now we'll have the lighting of the chalice. Cynthia will light it. living with pride. Our chalice flame for those who live their lives in closets of shame, for those who furtively visit the bars where nobody knew your name, for the Stonewall riot and the fierce trans women who fought, for the plague, which still takes too many, too young, too soon, so many gone, so many never lived to see, out gay kids singing on TV, out gay people serving in the military, marriage equality, families formed by intention. We light our chalice flame for all these and for all our siblings of the rainbow, surviving, living out in the open with pride. Okay. We always seem to forget the next one. If you rise in body or in spirit for our opening song, which is number 318, We Would Be One. And now you may remain standing. It is time to greet each other in the spirit of love and fellowship. We now greet the holy in our midst by briefly greeting those around us, especially those we do not know. You can go down if you want.
You're doing great so far. Yes, keep it up. Gosh, probably like this is maybe the second or third time. So. And how long do I have? I'm sorry. Great. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. No, that should be just fine. I just want to, make sure I keep myself on schedule. So. Yes, I've done the presentation before in 2 minutes. I have been told, you gotta book it through sometimes. Go for it. Oh, you're fine. Go on. to this church twice before. I used to work for, if you know Representative so I worked for him for, gosh, like 10 years, helping him run his campaigns and stuff. So I had a couple meetings here, and I was meeting with different folks. So you're familiar? Yes.
Hello, we're going to start Words for All Ages. If I could have all the children come up. Hi, everybody. My name is Allison. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm doing Words for All Ages today. So today we are going to talk about the seasonal shift that we just had. Can anybody of the children name my 4 seasons? The 4 seasons? Addie?
Fall.
Yes. And does anybody know what season we just shifted into? Summer. Does anybody know the name of the holiday or that we just had to honor? No, for the summer, the seasonal shift. We did have that holiday, but different. We're talking about the Earth seasons. Okay, summer solstice. Okay. This is when the sun stays the longest in the sky. So the days become longer and the nights are shorter. People who follow Earth's cycles believe, for example, winter is a time to go in and think and reflect, whereas summer is a time to go out, outside, to do. And I believe it's important to follow and honor the Earth's cycles because she's a living being of herself. So when I say her, I'm referring to Mother Earth. So can anybody tell me why is that important to have a relationship with the Earth? Does anybody know? Why is it important to have a relationship with the Earth? Because when you have a Zoe? That's okay. Because when you have a relationship with her, you'll love and care for her, and when you love and care for her, you'll protect her. Does anybody know why it's important to love, protect, and care for the Earth? No? Tiffany.
Because we can't live if we don't keep our home safe and protected.
Yes, and it is up to
Care of us.
And it is up to you guys to make sure that we keep our home safe, the children of the Earth. So what are some things that you can do to love, care, and protect the Earth? Water. Ezra? Pick up garbage. Elsie? Addie? What is something you could do to love, care, or protect? Pick up the trash. You could hug a tree. You could name your plants if you have them. Yep. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, planting trees could be something that you could do. Because you're right, that is sad. Okay, so we're going to go on and do meditation to honor the sun for the earth, for summer solstice, the seasonal change. So everybody close your eyes. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time. And I want you to imagine a big, bright, glowing sun with all its rays shining just above your head. And picture that in your mind. And picture that big, bright, glowing, shining, radiant sun moving down into your head space, bringing its light and warmth. There. Now imagine that big, bright, beautiful, shining sun moving down to your neck, shining its warmth there. And its healing energy. And imagine it moving down to your heart. And down to your stomach. And all the way down through your legs, through your toes. This golden, big light coming from the sun. And you can do this as many times as you need to, from your head to your toes, to connect to the sun. And imagine that sun connecting to the heart of the earth. Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from our own James Baldwin. Please pay attention.
Oh, my flag's trying to fly off. Okay, good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is James Baldwin. I'm a transgendered man who's been transitioned for a little over 18 years. The music that will play during the offertory today is from the album Switched On Bach, one of the first albums of popular electronic music to ever be released. This revolutionary work was composed on the Moog synthesizer by Wendy Carlos, a transgender woman and a pioneer of cinematic and electronic music. Wendy Carlos also composed the scores for Tron, The Shining, and A Clockwork Orange. In fact, every piece of synthesized orchestra that you ever heard in the 1980s, music for me that has always evoked that decade and its energy, at least partially owes its existence to Wendy. We have always been here, as artists, composers, musicians, and authors. Hatshepsut, Pharaoh of Egypt, was assigned female but ruled as king in the 15th century BCE. When they came to power, they donned the traditional masculine regalia of the pharaoh and publicly emphasized the qualities of both sexes in themselves to convey the idea that they were both a mother and father to the realm. Hatshepsut's 22-year reign was a period of great prosperity and general peace for Egypt. They built several major monuments, including the famous Karnak Temple complex. We have always been here as kings and queens and chiefs and as their advisors. The public universal friend, born Jemima Wilkinson, identified as neither male or female. A Quaker, they founded the Society of Universal Friends, and there it goes, practicing egalitarianism, pacifism, and religious universalism. The public universal friend rejected the ideas of predestination and election and held that anyone, regardless of gender, could gain access to God's light and universal salvation. Is this all starting to sound a little familiar? The public universal friend was also a passionate abolitionist and persuaded followers who held people in slavery to free them. They could be considered one of the ancestors in spirit of modern universalism. We have always been here as priests and popes, as shamans and sadia, as hijra, mahu, and bisu. Dr. James Barry was a transgender man who served as a military surgeon in the British Army in the mid-1800s, eventually rising to the rank of Inspector General of the British Army. He was given command of Britain's military hospitals, the second highest medical office in that military. He was a pioneer in the development of hospital hygiene long before Florence Nightingale. Barry performed one of the first known successful caesarean sections in which both mother and child survived. The child was christened James Barry Munich in Barry's honour, and his name was passed down through the family, leading to Barry's name, for better or worse, being borne by a later Prime Minister of South Africa, JBM Hertzog. We have always been here, as doctors and surgeons, and as people at the forefront of medical innovation. Albert Cashier, an Irish immigrant to Illinois, served as a soldier in the American Civil War. Cashier fought against the Confederacy in 26 separate battles and lived his entire life as a man. When he was outed in his old age, his surviving comrades fought to prevent him being forcibly feminized and charged with military pension fraud. Thanks to their efforts, Cashier retained his pension and was buried with full military honors under his male name in Sunny Slope Cemetery in Saunerman, Illinois. And there is actually a museum exhibit dedicated to him in Rockford right now, if you're interested. Colonel Emilio Robles Avila, a transgender man, fought with the Zapatistas from 1913 to 1918 during the Mexican Revolution and then again to support the fledgling government that came after. In 1970, the Mexican Secretary of National Defense awarded Robles as a veteran of the revolution. Robles's male identity was largely accepted by family, society, and the Mexican government, and Robles lived as a man from the age of 24 until his death in 1984. We have always been here as soldiers, revolutionaries, and war heroes. Many of you probably know the names Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, both American gay liberation and transgender rights activists. They're often credited with kickstarting the Stonewall Uprising in 1969, but they weren't the only trans people on the front lines of LGBTQ and women's rights. Carmen Rupe, a Maori trans woman from New Zealand, was a tireless advocate for our rights in the Pacific region from the 1930s until her death in 2009. And there are two other names that you should all know: Christine Goodwin in the UK and Lorena Borjas, who is often thought of as the mother of Hispanic and the trans femme community in the USA. We have always been here, not just as the last letter of GLBT or LGBT, but as the tip of the spear in the fight for civil liberties and human rights. British technology engineer and trans woman Sophie Wilson designed the ARM microprocessor core, which is used in most electronic devices, including smartphones, tablets, gaming consoles, and internet routers. Because of this, she's said to be one of the architects of the modern world. Meanwhile, another trans woman, Lynn Conway, invented generalized dynamic instruction handling, an advancement in chip manufacturing still used by most modern computer processors today. We have always been here, pushing the boundaries of technology and its connection to the body. That was a very brief list of a few of the transgender and non-binary people who have made history. And there are many, many more of us. And if after that you're wondering why you never knew that your cell phone relies on technology pioneered by trans women, or why you never knew that maybe one of our local Midwestern Civil War heroes was a transgender man, I can tell you. Systemic, deliberate erasure. The pharaohs who came after Hatshepsut tried to strike their name and accomplishments from the records or take credit for them. And thousands of years later, archaeologists downplayed Hatshepsut's existence and legacy for decades. The British Army sealed Dr. James Barry's records for over 100 years after his death to cover up the fact that he was a transgender man. IBM fired Lynn Conway in 1968 after she revealed her intention to undergo a gender transition and only apologized to her in 2020. And in the 1930s, when the Nazis took over Germany, one of their first targets was the Institute of Sexual Research and its library of queer and specifically transgender research and literature. Right now, the current administration is doing its best to erase us again. Military records and awards for transgender soldiers are being suppressed, revoked, and destroyed. The National Parks Service altered the Stonewall National Monument's website, eliminating mentions of transgender people and changing LGBTQ+ to LGB, rewriting the history of the riot. Our images are being removed from websites and national museums. In our day-to-day lives, cisgender people around us often deliberately or accidentally attempt to erase us. But we have always been here. And this, for me, is the meaning of pride. Not the rainbows and the parades and the commodification of queer identity. Pride is connecting to my friends around the world using the technology that my sisters pioneered. Pride is celebrating the ongoing lives of mothers, and the birthdays of children safely delivered by cesarean section in a procedure first perfected by one of my brothers in history. It is pride in the resiliency of my communities, the transgender, non-binary, and intersex communities, as we continue to stand at the front lines of history. This Promethean space that we transgender people occupy is not an easy one. Both trans and intersex people are often some of the first to be targeted by tyranny, as we're seeing today in the USA and other countries. But the people who want to crush us fail to understand something about what it means to be who and what we are. To be transgender means to have the courage and the fierce ability to create oneself as oneself. And this fundamental will to self imbues you with a strange power. It's an internal drive for liberation that is often accomplished at great personal expense, but which has collectively endured every dictator and every would-be tyrant in history. It is a power that comes only from the relentless pursuit of personal authenticity. And now we've reached the end of my time here, but I wanted to leave you all with a question and a challenge. And that question is this: how often, even in this progressive space, do we tell the stories of trans people as if we're only survivors, only victims, only standing at the fringes asking for room at the table? I hope what you see now is something larger and something older, and that is that we have always been at the table, and we in fact probably helped to build that table. Trans people are not only the wounded, we're visionaries and agents of history. And when we trans and non-binary people gather here inside this living tradition of Unitarian Universalism, we're not simply looking for shelter. We bring our fire, that power in us, to our congregations. Sometimes we even have to stand up to our fellow church members and set them straight, or not, as the case may be. And that is the spiritual, one might say esoteric meaning of trans pride. So I would call on each one of you to privately reflect on how in the past you might have accidentally othered transgender and non-binary people, or thought of them as an exception or a disruption to your world, rather than as a foundation of it. If you've ever had a cesarean section, or know someone who has, if you use a cell phone or a computer, which I assume most of you probably do, or listen to electronic music, or take meaning from films like the Matrix trilogy, or dance to Eddie Izzard, now Susie Eddie Izzard, I challenge you to consider how the world you live in was also shaped by our hands, our minds, and our voices. And I challenge you to carry that recognition forward into your justice, your advocacy, and your theology, because we have always been here, and we always will be. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Thompson, a member of the Pastoral Care Team. As we gather today, we pause to reflect on what lies in our hearts. In this time of sharing, we take a moment to recognize our personal joys and sorrows and to read from the book of joys and sorrows, those personal life events that you have chosen to share with us. Do we have any joys online?
There are none at this time.
Any sorrows?
No.
Okay, thank you. We have a couple in our book. Miriam is excited to share that she is going into private practice after passing her clinical social work exam, continuing to work with young children and their families. And Anne and Hannah say congratulations to Diane and Sam Anderson. Their wedding was 2 weeks ago and was quite a celebration. Thanks to all who sent their love to this couple. And from James, the trans community lost the Scrimeti appeal in the Supreme Court. And this is a sorrow, I should have added that. And bans on transgender youth care have been upheld. For what we have shared and for what remains in the quiet sanctuary of our hearts, we are grateful. Let us become aware of the energy that brings us together in beloved community as we share a time of silent meditation. May we open our minds and hearts to a place of quiet, to a silent prayer for the healing of pain and the comfort of love. You are invited to come forward and light a candle during the musical meditation that follows.
Now I want you to join me in welcoming Tyler Mitchell. Tyler is development director at the project that serves the LGBTQ community in our area. Tyler?
Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, sorry. Always have to adjust to that at first. Good morning, everyone. Like was stated, my name is Tyler Mitchell. I am the development director at the Project of the Quad Cities, and just want to say how grateful I am to each and every one of you for welcoming me into your space this morning. It's greatly appreciated. I think I may have some slides, possibly. Maybe. That's okay. We'll get there eventually. Let me get a quick raise of hands here. Raise your hand if you are familiar with the Project of the Quad Cities, are at least aware of its existence. Awesome. Okay, I can just take a seat then, because y'all already know what's going on. So just as we're getting to my slides, I might kind of spoil some of them in advance, but the Project of the Quad Cities, we have actually been in this community since 1986. Oh, okay. Is that better, maybe? Sorry about that. Okay, we'll go with that. We've been in this community since 1986. We first came into existence in response to the HIV and AIDS epidemic that was really raging through our community at the time. If we could just go to the next slide, please. Perfect. So in this really quick presentation, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about the project, a little bit about our history, a quick overview of services, and then we'll probably skip the Q&A portion here. Am I still doing something wrong?
It needs to be lower. Don't lean over.
Don't lean over. Okay. We're going to get this, I promise. So, like I said, opened in 1986 in response to the HIV and AIDS epidemic. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So what that means is most, if not all, of our services are actually provided at no cost to those throughout our community. Next slide, please. That's a photo of our building. We just moved in November of 2023. We are in the old John Deere medical space, if you're familiar, off of John Deere Road. That is a list of our services right there. I will spare reading through each one in detail. Next slide, please. But like I said, our history is based in the HIV and AIDS epidemic of the 1980s, right? So as people were really dying from the virus at that time, there was nothing in terms of support systems really in existence in our community. We had a lot of people who had previously gone to large metro areas that were suddenly coming home. And in many cases, they believed that they were coming home to die. And so that was often the case, is that we as an organization were simply there for people during some of their final moments of their lives. Next slide, please. There's a photo of Dr. Katz. I'm sure some of you in this room are familiar with Dr. Katz. He is our medical director and was really on the front lines as well here locally in the 90s, serving people that were impacted with the virus at a time in which, honestly, doctors, healthcare professionals would often not even go into patients' room, fearing that they could get infected themselves due to a lack of knowledge and because of stigma. Next slide, please. Just more photos of our history, right? I think it's so important as we're talking about this current moment that we also reflect on where we came from. History tends to repeat itself in so many ways, right? And so hopefully we can say that we've learned something from what we did in the 80s and 90s with respect to HIV. Next slide, please. Let's just go to the next one. Thank you so much. So at our clinic in Moline, we have a full service sexual health clinic. So anybody can come in and receive STI and HIV testing at no charge. Insurance is not required. It's 100% confidential. If you have insurance, we'll take it. We love to bill it. But again, it is not necessary in order to receive services. Ooh, you can actually, that's great, perfect. After that, we also provide medications called PrEP and PEP to the community. So PrEP is kind of like for lack of a better description, the birth control of HIV. If you take this pill once a day, it's actually up to 99% effective in stopping HIV transmission from sex. Not a lot of people even know that that exists. If you told folks in the 80s and 90s that we would have a medical intervention like this today, their minds would be blown, for a lack of a better description. And PEP on the other end is sort of like, again, to continue the comparison, the plan B of HIV. If you think you've been exposed, you can take that within 72 hours to stop an HIV transmission. Next slide. Perfect. Behavioral health services. So behavioral health, as you know, we're sort of in a mental health desert in our community here, right? So we employ 3 full-time mental health clinicians that primarily work with people in the LGBTQ plus community or those who are living with HIV. We do that on individual, family, and group basis. And again, the best part is that all of those services are available at no cost to those that we serve. We will bill insurance, gotta keep saying that. LGBTQ plus healthcare, right? So since we started doing our work in 1986, immediately the sort of overlap of working with people living with HIV and the LGBTQ community was present, right? Given who was being disproportionately impacted by the virus. Today, the great news is that we're able to provide so many preventative healthcare services, and by getting LGBTQ folks to come and receive healthcare services from us, we can have a full comprehensive conversation about their health in general, right? So we have a partnership through Community Healthcare, a nurse practitioner who has been seeing our LGBTQ clients routinely for the past 3 years, continues to offer that specialized care. No cost behavioral health screenings, like I said. The STI and HIV screenings are also critical, not just for LGBTQ folks, but for anyone who is really sexually active in our community. And then we're very proud to provide healthcare for our trans, non-binary, and intersex folks throughout our community. That does include gender-affirming care for both adults and youth. Because we are physically based in Moline, Illinois, we are able to provide those services, unlike here in Iowa, where unfortunately we have a ban on those types of services in place. Next slide. So we're gonna fly through these. HIV case management. Moral of the story is, if you are living with HIV in this community, please reach out to us. We can help you access different types of services, including housing, transportation, assistance with medication. That is what we're here to do. Next slide, please. And again, prevention and outreach. We realize not every single person wants to come to us. They don't want to come to our clinic. So we know that it is critical that we go to them out in the community where they live in their communities to provide the types of services that they need. Next slide, please. Next slide. Perfect. So we have Pride 5K coming up this Saturday, June 28th. Still have some spots open. So if you're a runner or a walker or just want to come and hang out with us, please go to our website and consider signing up. Next slide. And then later in the evening, actually in the afternoon and evening, we'll have our Pride Party at Bass Street Landing in downtown Moline. This is our free Pride, so everyone is welcome to join us. We'll have drag performances, live music, and food, and it is a really good time. And I don't think I'm taking questions because we're going to go to the next part of the program, but thank you all again for the time and space this morning. It is greatly appreciated.
This congregation is a theologically diverse religious community with membership open to all who are in accord with our values, mission, and vision. Our congregation is entirely self-governed by the democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. This month's undesignated plate offering will go towards the project. We invite you now to participate in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts of the congregation. Please be as generous as you're able.
thought this was probably this is when you tell us. This was some of the first no, real instruments. This published 1968.
TD Novels.
This was brilliant. They were being used for something. This was the first that was so totally
For all the gifts of time and treasure that you give to this congregation, with sincere gratitude, we thank you.
because the drag community knew that when they
Our reading is actually a prayer today. It's from a hymn written by Al Carmines, who was a minister in my home church in New York City. I am just saying the second verse, mainly because it's pretty deist. I didn't want to overwhelm you all with my background. Anyway, here we go. Many gifts, one spirit, God of many colors, God of many signs, you have made us different, blessing many kinds. As the old ways disappear, let your love cast out our fear. Many gifts, one spirit, one love known in many ways. In our difference is blessing. From diversity we praise. One giver, one Lord, one spirit, one word, known in many ways, hallowing our days. For the giver, for the gifts, praise, praise, praise. And now, please rise in body or spirit for our closing song, number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
Thank you.
you. Okay, we'll do, okay, we're going to extinguish the flame and then do announcements. I'm not sure how. Thank you for well, you can stand up again if you want to, but you don't have to. We, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now Cynthia will have our announcements.
Okay, we have a few announcement items. Our community is very lucky to have treats after church every week. This July, the Welcome Team is giving our hostess teams a break and asking that they only make sure we have coffee available after services on Sundays. Instead of bringing delicious treats to share, we are asking everyone to bring in dried goods and set them on the table where food normally would be placed to remind us that not everyone has food and we need to help our neighbors. Last year, we collected lots of great food to share. Let's continue this summertime tradition. Also, on June 29th, the veggie potluck will be after service during coffee hour. And just to explain a little bit about that, next Sunday, the 29th, your environmental justice team will again sponsor the quarterly vegetarian potluck. You don't have to be a vegetarian to participate. Please bring your favorite salad, side dish, or meat-free entree. The hospitality team will focus on desserts. Remember that going to a plant-based diet, even just once or twice a week, can reduce your carbon footprint and improve your health. Also, during and after the potluck, you will have the opportunity to participate in our postcard campaign to save our national parks and public lands. Part of the Big Beautiful Bill includes selling off 3 million acres of land in and adjacent to our parks, including Grand Tetons, Big Sur, Rocky Mountain National Park, the Boundary Waters, and the Grand Canyon. These lands will be sold to the highest bidder, who will privatize them or lease them to fossil fuel companies for drilling or to lumber companies for clear cutting. Join us in making our voices heard. Hands off our public lands. Also, mark your calendars for Monday, July 28th to participate in the UUCQC fundraising team event at Pizza Ranch in Bettendorf from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. A percentage of the night's profits, tips, and donations from all who eat will be donated to UUCQC. We are also in need of 10 adult volunteers to help with simple bussing of tables and serving customers. Contact Ann Harrington or Melanie Landa for more info and to sign up. A reminder that the big blue plastic jugs upstairs and in the social hall downstairs have plenty of room to collect your spare pennies for the team's current fundraiser. Your change makes a difference. Okay. All right. Finally, let me draw your attention to the additional announcements printed on the back of your order of service. And now for the closing words.
Yes, there is no binary. The road not taken is not a fork. That's too simple a thought, flipping some coin. Either or. Nope, it's not this or that. no or yes. It's nor, neither, and all of the above, and more. The road taken goes every way at once. There, they, them. Go, now, live. Go in peace. You may be seated for the postlude.